everyone. We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming from our studios in Trinidad. Sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, even remembering union without the embrace brings transformation. Something has happened. You have been in it totally, and if you are remembering that, it will bring the bliss, and it is capable of transforming as well. Yesterday I asked someone which the book that you have, which of the chapter is better than the other. One way the response was good, correct, that each chapter is unique and it is difficult to say. So I said, yet still there will be one better than the other. There the answer was wrong. The answer was that I have to, if you want, I will read each one of these chapters, then I'll be able to decide. A master is a tourist guide. You visit a particular city, a particular place where they have tourist guides. Tourist guide is familiar with the whole place, different sightseeing places and everything. If you happen to be in a city where you are visiting a place where mountains, valleys, and all these things are, and to view that scene, a kind of terrace is made which is quite big. There may be restaurants, so people will go there to look at the scenic beauty. So tourist guide, it is 360-degree scenic beauty is available to you. So guide takes you, say, go in this corner. From here you look at the valley and the mountains. And now you come up to this side and you will see a totally different thing. So what he is showing, that beauty, that grandeur, that splendor that is there in that scene, with the clouds covering the mountains, part of the valley, waterfall, river flowing, there is a sound, and all these things, you get different views. Master is the tourist guide for the inner. Each chapter, each talk is like looking at that reality, the innerness, from a different angle. The purpose of the tourist guide is to show you the same beauty from different angles. So it is impossible to say which is better than the other, because each has its own uniqueness. It gives you the opportunity to look into the scene. Feel the breeze blowing, the clouds floating in the sky, sometimes covering this mountain, the other. The sound of the waterfall, the rivulet flowing, all these things are shown to you from different angles. In the same way, the role of the master is to show you, to get you the glimpse. Who knows which particular scene, which particular talk touch you so much that your process of transformation begins. No one knows. I have spoken on different topics, different masters, different paths, so that at least somewhere something clicks in you and your process of transformation begins. So this is the reason that the master goes on speaking on various topics in different ways, so that you get the glimpses and something clicks within you. Also, someone asked another way, which of the chapter or talk is better? You want to go upstairs. You are on the ground floor. You want to go to the second floor. There is a staircase which is a spiral. It has glass all around. Glass all around. Or you are taking the elevator. Let's take the staircase. Which staircase will lead you to the top? Can you decide which staircase, which step of the staircase will take you to the top? The staircase is composed of different steps. You have to put your foot on the first step. The first step will lead to the second, second to the third. And when you look at from that step, first step, which is ground floor, you will not be able to see what is going on properly. There is a concert or a function taking place, and if you are at the same level where things are happening, you will not be able to get a clear view. But if you go to a certain height, you will get a slightly better. So those people who are covering that event, the photographers and the news reporters, they go on a height, is a moving height, like what these people who do the electrical repairs on the street they use. I do not know the name of that. So they sit down in that, they elevate themselves to go up and down to bring you the scenes as well as the sound. So from the first step where you are standing and the event is taking place, you will not get a clear view. If you go one step above that, you will get a better scene. When you reach a certain height above the people, you will be able to get a much better and clearer view of the event that is taking place. In one of the compositions, Meera says that I am talking about Krishna, that I am looking at you from different heights. She is talking about the psychic centers, not these psychic centers, which are 7 in numbers. They are like these steps to look into the reality. When you are looking at the reality from the ground level, like for instance from the sex center, the first center, you will get a different view. When you are looking at from the solar plexus center, which is higher in vertical framework, you will get a different view. And when you reach to the top, from there everything will be clearer and you will get a clear view. So Meera says, I have looked at you from different heights, yet still I have not known you totally. So this is the response to that question. So when you are saying that which book or which chapter of this master is better than the other, each talk, each message is meant to give you a different glimpse of the same reality from a different angle, different height, so that somewhere or the other along the path you are attracted to it, and then the process of transformation can begin in you. This particular sutra says, even remembering the union, remembering something that has happened, without the embrace, the transformation is possible. Take for instance an example. I give you all, the people sitting in the room, something, a delicious dish to taste. Each one of you are enjoying it while you are tasting it, while you are having it. And after the dish is finished, we continue in the talk. And then I ask, give each one of you a piece of paper and a pen and ask you to write your experience of that taste of that particular dish. The taste will still linger in your mouth, just as when you have really been in the company of the master, and the moment you remember that first company, when you had gone in the company of the master, what had happened to you, the words that he told you, you can never forget that words. The way he looked at you, you can never forget that. And if he has called you lovingly or told you something amidst the crowd and noticed you, ask you to come and sit down this side, can you ever forget that? And that is the transforming. It is something like this. You have heard a beautiful scene, you have seen a beautiful image. You can never forget that. If you have heard the music, it continues to echo in your ears as if this fading sound, the dissolving notes. You can never forget that. So after you have eaten that dish, I ask you to write something about that, about its looks, taste, feel that you are giving, explaining, introducing this product, this item to someone else. While you are writing, your eyes will express the first look at that, when you saw the texture, when you put the piece in your mouth and how it melt. You will give a detailed description of it. So this is why the sutra says, if the union with the beloved has happened totally, it is not the four minds are interacting, the thinking mind and the feeling mind of the spouse and beloved, that makes four minds. Instead, the union has happened at the level of the feeling, and instead of a square or triangle, a circle is formed. You can never forget that, and that can bring transformation in you. So if you remember that union, what had happened at that moment, and even without embrace, transformation is possible. Once you know that, once you have entered into it, even the partner is not needed. You can simply remember the act and enter into it. You will get the same everything, but first you must have the feeling. You have entered into the act through the feeling mind, not through the thinking mind. If you know the feeling, you can enter into that act without the partner. This is what I had mentioned. That's a meditation technique which I suggest to everyone who has one breakdown. And no sooner that a relationship is abandoned, you are lamenting for another one. If without correcting that, you enter into another relationship, it is bound to be a failure. I give the meditation to the people, such people who are desirous of entering into another relationship after one is abandoned for certain reasons, that remember in each relation there are certain moments which are of extreme joy, happiness and bliss, and certain moments are unpleasant. And it is because of the unpleasant moments that the relationship has been abandoned and you are desirous of entering into another. Sit down, close your eyes, and remember the first day when you had come in the company of the beloved. He called you, he looked at you. What kind of things happened to you? In Sufi terminology, it is called Roza Awwal. Roza means day, Awwal means first. Remembrance of the first day. If you remember the first day, when you have come to the company of the Master, this is a Marakba, Roza Awwal. if you remember that. I have heard when Akbar was the Mughal emperor in India, there was a very ordinary person, a very poor person, but he had the integrity and honesty. So the king put him into the army as a soldier. But because of his integrity, so he was in rags when he came in the contact of the emperor. So he was inducted into the army. His uniform changed, he put on the army clothes and served in the army, but continued to rise the higher ranks. And one day he became the commander of the army. So people were jealous that a man of ordinary, humble settings, how could he rise to such a status of being the commander? So when things like these happen, so there are people who carry the news to the king, to the emperor, that this man is doing some conspiracy, because every evening before going to the bed, he will lock himself into the room and nobody knows what he does. So the people who were watching and were jealous of him, he carried the news to the emperor that looks like he is conspiring something to overthrow your throne. Kings, although they have all the security, yet still they are the most fearful persons. So Akbar made a peephole in the room, and at the appointed time, when the man locked the room, he came outside the room, and through the peephole he watched into the room what this man is doing, as it has been said that he is doing the conspiracy. He saw the man went to a cupboard, took out a packet of rags, very old looking. He opened it, he undressed himself, took out the rags from that packet, put them on, he stand up in front of the mirror, washed himself and raised his hands in prayer, and thereafter, having done so, he remained in Marakba for some time. Then he changed back his clothes, put back the rags into that packet once again, and hid it inside the cupboard again. This was strange for the emperor to watch. So he plundered into the room and asked the person what it was all about. So what he said, it is meaningful. I do not know whether it happened or not, but for me it has a relevance, specifically for the seekers and for those who aspire for a harmonious relationship between harmonious male-female relationship. He said, when I came in your company, I was in rags. It was your compassion that you looked something in me which I was oblivious of, and you made me a soldier in the army, and slowly you gave me higher positions, and today you made me the commander of the army. He did not say that eventually through in the process from a soldier I became this. No, it is because of your grace I went on rising from a soldier to different levels, and today you made me the commander. I do not want to forget my first day in your company. What was my condition? I was in rags. My mind was shattered. There was no source of living, no hope. All was darkness inside. No way light was coming in. There was all chaos. And in your company, the cosmos has come into me. My life has transformed. So I do not want to forget the first day. This is called the Marakba of Roza Awwal. Remembering the first day when you came in the company of the Master. How he called you, he talked to you. Probably you did not have the words. You were so emotional that you could not speak. The tears flowed. It was the point when the heart melted. The energy reached to the heart center. It is the opening of the heart center, or as Sufis call, Qalb Zakiruna. The heart is invoked, heart center is open. For the first time you realize that there is something that you have never known, the heart, the emotions. Now the process of purifying the emotions are very important. Many times you became emotional when in ordinary ways, when you was entering into the relationship with your spouse, you became emotional at certain moments. But those were fading memories. There has been always certain memories which cannot fade away, nobody can take away from you. The first meeting with the Master, when he calls you, talks to you, looks at you, is the most significant event in the life of an aspirant, in the life of a seeker, in the life of a murid. He can never forget. And if he continues to remember that, the process of transformation will continue. This is what the sutra is about. Then you do not need the physical company even. You do not need the embrace even. Just remembering that, you are thrown back into that same situation. Thrown back into the same situation. The moment you remember that, how first time when he called you, what had happened. You do not know what to do, what to say, how to say. The words starts fumbling. You don't know what to do. So much energy flows into you, so much joy comes into you, that everything else cannot speak. I am just speechless. I just watched before this program a video. Indian Prime Minister Modi is visiting on 2 days. Is on a 2 days visit to Munich in Germany, where he is attending as a special invitee G7 conference. So as he reached outside his hotel where he was to stay, there was a huge crowd of the people of Indian diaspora. There was a lady who was waiting since morning to have a glimpse of the Prime Minister. And the news reporter covered that the lady was crying, tears was flowing out of her eyes, and she said his aura was so much that I did not know how to look at him, what to do, and I was waiting whole night and waking early and seeing so that I do not reach late here, and I wanted to have a glimpse of him, to just have a look at him, so that I can be in his company. What I did not know what I will do when I am in his company. The tears were continuing to flow. And this is the situation when you are in the company of the Master for the first time. At that moment, your heart center is invoked, it opens up. The Anhat Chakra, the unheard. The sound is unheard. And with each relationship begins with this kind of thing. And if you can remember, and then there in each relationship there has been moments, occasions when you experience total dissolution, that you became a circle. You became totally involved in the act of love making with your total heart and spirit. And if you continue to remember some of those moments, then although the separation was necessary for whatever reasons, my journey in this particular city is over. Time is for me to go to another city. I recall when my mother was here in Florida for some years back, the day she was to go, she was unhappy, she was crying. She said, I am leaving you all. So I said, there is another aspect of it. You are leaving me, but there should be a joy of going and meeting your other children, whom you have not seen for all this duration when you was here. So one side is that you are leaving one, the other side is the joy to meet the other, who are aspiring to have your company. So this is how it happens. The night is getting over, the dawn is coming. The darkness of one relationship is coming to an end, and you are entering, aspiring for the dawn of the new. If you do not forget the first, do not and remember those moments when those moments were of extreme joy, and so there will be no animosity of any kind. The time has come. Our meeting was up to here only. After that, I wish you continue your journey. But what happens whenever any relationship is abandoned? We become sworn enemies of one another. So the sutra says, if you know the feeling, you can enter into the act without the partner. This is a little difficult, but it happens. And unless it happens, you will go on being dependent on the other. And dependency is created For so many reasons it happens. If you had the feeling, if you have known the moment when you were not there, but only you were not there, means the ego, the mind was not there. Instead of vibrating energy you have become an energy. Both of you were one, and the partner and you became one. Only he or she is. That oneness is centered within you. The partner is no more there. And it is easier for women to have the feeling, because during the act of love making, the woman always closes her eyes. So if you close your eyes and take yourself into that moment when you had experienced this, you can start with something. You had been to a restaurant, you have been offered different things, you have eaten. Out of that, one would be the most striking one. Now you have come back home. Write something about that. If you write your first meeting about with the master, you are thrown into the same situation. What had happened, how the energy flowed, what was the tawajjuh, the bliss, the energy that flowed into. You can always take yourself into that situation. And if you continue to do the Marakwa of Rosa Awwal every day, nothing else, just remembering that union with the Master for the first time, how you were like a river is turbulent all along. It was excited to merge into the ocean. When it reaches the shore of the ocean, it is very turbulent. It is in dual minds whether to jump into the river or not, whether to take this leap or not. And in that quandary, in that state of confusion, it doesn't know what to do. So it closes its eyes. If the drop can narrate its life story. I was a drop, turbulent, not utterly in a state of confusion all along. I wanted to be in the company of the Master. I was aspiring, making rehearsal for hours and hours together, to have a talk with him, to hear his words live. Now that moment has come, and I am all indecisive whether to take this jump into the unknown. After that, I will not be what I am now. I will be a different person. So the drop closes his eyes, and the other drop that is flowing behind pushes it, and it falls down and disappears. It is no more known as drop. That is the moment of turbulence. You want to talk to the Master, you want to be in the company, but the fear comes in. The words fail to speak. You fumble. But the moment you jump into something miraculous happens. The ocean lends its magnanimity to the drop. Drop is now known as the drop of the ocean. Its quality, its texture, everything changes. So if you can remember the first day in the company of the master, or if you can remember remembering the union, it can be very broad perspective. Union with the beloved. Each thing, each happening in life, whether you are eating food, whether you are taking a shower, whatsoever you are doing, the central element of life is the search for the unknown and unknowable, to be in that company. Each thing, if you have a particular event taking place in your city, there are people living in 360-degree all around that event, to the central point where the event is taking place. So the slogan goes on, all roads lead to that place. Wherever you start your journey from, you will reach to that destination. This road, that road, all the roads, the byways, highways, subways, thoroughfare, all lead to that particular, once you know the direction. So whatsoever you do in your life must lead to the same goal. The goal is the transformation. How to be light unto myself. That's the caption of the book. Light unto myself. Light unto myself. Did not put it how. Light, because the entire book deals with how. So title remains on light unto myself. Buddha said, be a light unto yourself, beginning with light unto myself. It is in the first person. I am not telling you, you are now a light unto myself. It begins with the first chapter, how to be light unto myself. How to be light unto myself, the journey begins with that question, with that query. It ends up with discovering the essential element in life. And what is the essential element in life? You are eating food for what? For satiation. To nourish and nurture yourself. To attain to joy. So the joy is the beginning, the happiness, satiation, but bliss is the ultimate state. So you are doing everything for bliss. Your sex act is to bring bliss into you, a fulfillment, so that unfulfilled desires are no more there. There is joy, there is bliss, there is the ultimate objective, discovering the central element in life is the optimum happiness, satiation. When you eat the meals at a particular place, sometimes you say, yes, I need still something sweet. The belly is full, but still I need something, a sweet dish. So sweet dish finishes that quest, the satiation comes in. When the satiation comes in, it lasts for a certain period of time. Then you again, the desire comes in and you go. But the desire for the ultimate and unknown and unknowable is a desire. Having that satiated, you desire no more. When you finish the meals, he said, I am full. I don't need anything. I am so full and satiated that I cannot take even a morsel now, even a grain of anything now. So when you discover that element in everything that you do in life, you are walking on the road, you are going to work, but the central theme, the element is that unknown and unknowable. Whatever name you assign to him, it is your choice. And that ultimate satiation, the fulfillment, and that brings the bliss. That is Sat Chit Anand. Anand has no synonym, no antonym, no other side of it. You have known the truth, and living with that truth is consciousness. And when you have known the truth and you are living with that understanding, with that truth, living moment to moment, bliss, anand happens. The three altogether that is the central theme. How to be light unto myself, journeys through various stages, and finally you discover the ultimate, the essential element in life. The journey completes. The last, let me see if I can read that line, if I happen to get into. But why this craving for being timeless and egoless? Because no sooner than ego dissolves, there is glimpse of soul. No sooner than time disappears, there is a glimpse of godliness. There is a religious experience, a spiritual experience underlying everything, even sexual craving. Because once you can experience that spiritual experience underlying the sexual craving, nothing else is needed more. In food, the underlying is the spiritual experience. This humanity has to recognize to be light unto himself. The central theme. We will continue this journey. I had thought of speaking on this sutra, even remembering the union. Without the embrace, transformation is possible. But the other things were into it. I will explain the methodology of this tomorrow. Until then, take care and do have a pleasant day.